Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
Okay, I think the coast is clear. I used to work for Costco, and a lot of people don't know that they make almost all of their pastries and breads and cakes and pies in-house. And I would open up in the morning and have to go in there. And I know everybody's perception of the company is, oh, they treat their employees so well, everybody loves Costco, yada, yada, yada. Just don't know what it's like to have to go in early in the morning, open up the store, and be trapped inside that building with all those yummy smells, and you can't eat any of it. You smell all them fresh baked breads, cakes, cookies. It's hard because you can't eat any.
So UberFacts tweeted this: what company secrets can you reveal now that you don't work for the company anymore? And I just want to go through some of my favorite responses. The first one says, the bank really does reorganize your transactions to make you overdrawn. And there's a reply that says, yeah, banks have been sued for this. Chick-fil-A sauce is honey mustard, barbecue, and ranch, LMAO. And the comment is really what made me laugh. She said, no way, because it doesn't have any dairy and ranch is all dairy. And then someone said there's a vegan ranch. I was like, LOL. Another one where it says, I've been scrolling on this for 2 days and none of y'all work for federal student loans. Nordstrom doesn't have a return policy. You can literally buy a pair of shoes, wear them every day for 2 years, and still return them. If you at Target and you hear an employee say Hardlines 4 over their walkie-talkie, put everything you steal in back. If you hear Sephora employees talking about Nora on their little headsets, they're talking about someone shoplifting, or more likely they are profiling someone as a shoplifter. You don't have to pay collections, and if you refuse to pay, we just come up with a random settlement when we weren't going to report it anyway, so we can get a portion on our check.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
So I worked for GameStop from 2011 to 2018. I was a holiday hire, SGA, assistant store manager, knew how to do store manager work, made my way up the ranks, read the entire employee handbook because it would be fucking boring, did every quiz, everything, all of it. So, because I read the handbook, I know for a fact that if you open a brand new game and you declare when you return it that it was too mature for your child based off the ESRB rating, they have to return it. It is in the handbook. It states specifically, can return new open games if it was too mature. So do with that information what you will.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
So I've not seen anybody talking about Pandora. Okay, Pandora jewelry. Where's the Pandora people at? I need you here now. When you shop at Pandora, you're literally shopping for sentimental value because there's not a single charm or a bracelet you can take to a pawn shop and actually get any cash back for it. It's so little bit of gold in that jewelry that it's worthless. It's all silver. It's all cubic zirconiums. You wouldn't find a Swarovski, a diamond, a crystal at all in that store. It's all CZ stones that we find at anywhere. And two, it varies from franchise to franchise. I worked at a few. Some are really good at being organized and stuff, but a lot of them, charms are low over the floor. It's dirty. They don't keep things up. You could probably look in between the things on the floor and you might find a charm underneath there, honestly. It's filthy. And we all steal, all the employees.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
Well, this isn't necessarily, I guess, like a company. I mean, I guess it is. It's a franchise restaurant. But the fact that they put money over everything, I mean, is literally insane. Like, we live in a world that companies would rather stay open at all costs versus just putting a note on the door saying, sorry, we're closed, we're not adequate staff today, or this, that, or the other. Like, that would not happen. And the horror stories that I could tell you because of that is disgusting, and I almost never eat at big chain restaurants because of it. But one thing specifically, before COVID happened, I worked at this big chain restaurant, we'll just call it Crapplebee's. There was a one line cook that night, and I walk out to the back area where we can take breaks and stuff, which was literally disgusting. They have no designated break area. It's literally where they keep all the boxes, and it's where they keep the dumpster. We're just supposed to sit out beside the dumpster to take our breaks. And I remember going out there, and one of the line cooks came out from around the dumpster, and I was like, why were you behind the dumpster? And he's like, I'm throwing up. And I'm like, oh my God, like, can I get you some water? Like, do I need to go tell the manager? He's like, no, I already have. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I've already told the manager that I'm throwing up. They said there's nothing they can do. I'm like, you're cooking people's food. Like, let me go talk to the manager. So I go, I get water. I go to the manager and I'm like, hey, like, so-and-so's behind the dumpster throwing up. Like, I visibly saw them, like, throwing up. They're like, well, what do you want me to do? I was like, call somebody in. They're like, nobody can come in. Nobody can come in. There's nothing I can do. I'm like, well, then close the doors. There's somebody vomiting, cooking other people's food. And they said if they did that, they would get fired. And that's just one of the many disgusting reasons why I will not go to this specific chain restaurant or many chain restaurants, because they actually care more about people coming in and giving them money than sending somebody who's vomiting home.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
I used to work for a budget-friendly shoe store that we will call Schmaless. Now, Schmaless was cutting corners on costs left and right. And unfortunately, their cost-cutting measures caused the death of a 2-year-old girl. Big headline, I know. And that company made sure to do their best to try and cover it up. They really didn't want anybody to know. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's making me nervous. Long story short, they wanted us to dismantle the shelving units that held the shelves that held those rows of shoe boxes in 5-foot sections at a time, depending on how much stock we were running low on. And the problem with that is most employees of Schmaless were not qualified to be handymen, essentially. And while it was no issue for me, because I went to university where I had to dismantle and build sets for theater, so I was kind of used to it, but most of the employees of Schmaless were not equipped to do that. So unfortunately, what ended up happening was an employee, I think it was in Georgia, I gotta look up the news articles again, did not attach an end panel correctly. Now, an end panel, for those of you who don't know retail, which sounds like isn't many of you, I think there's a lot of retail employees on here, is those large walls at the end of a row that can house product, or in our cases had that, as well as mirrors, very heavy mirrors attached to the walls. I think you can all tell where I'm going with this. Essentially, it still makes me sad to think about, but one of the end panels wasn't attached properly and fell while the store was open, and a 2-year-old girl was underneath it. They don't talk about it.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
So there's a big blue home improvement store chain, and if you drive a forklift for them, and then you drive that forklift into a Walgreens and then fail the breathalyzer, they don't even wait for you to get out of jail before they fire you. because they're not nice.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
Okay, so I actually still work at this place, but just gonna go ahead and tell you. So, at my job, they have this show that we have to keep on in the background all day. Like, it's not an option. This is the show. So we have to just like listen to that all day. The next thing is that my boss, well, I have two bosses. They're super demanding, and like they make me stop what I'm doing if they want something to eat or drink. Like, one of my bosses is obsessed with chocolate milk, and he'll just come up to me and say, I want some chocolate milk, and like expect me to drop what I'm doing to go get some chocolate milk. Oh gosh, she's right there. So those are my bosses.
Tell me a company secret that you can share because you don't work there anymore.
So, when the internet goes out and you have to call customer service, call technical support? Yeah. And you know how technical support can have a look at your system and see if it's up and running and stuff like that? Yeah. The technical support agents can go into any person's network at any time. Of course, they're going to get reprimanded if they are, snooping around, but they can. And they can log onto your modem, see the traffic, see connected devices, and shut it off if they want, or use QoS settings to deny you service, even though it looks like you have 100 megabit, you don't. That sort of shit. When I worked for an ISP, I figured this out because I got put on callback, which is when we have to call the customer back when we have time and then solve the issue instead of them having to wait on hold. And I got into the habit of just like looking up the customer, seeing if I saw like a normal problem, fixing the problem, and then calling them to say, hey, there you go, it's fixed. Because, that's good customer service, but it's not legal. I never got shit for it. Ever. So if you know someone that works for a company like that, and you cross them, hell, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend who works for a company like that, they might change your Wi-Fi password.